Well, welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your favorite wrestling fan here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time on the GSMC Sports Network to talk about the greatest thing in the world, professional wrestling, all the action inside and outside of the ring, backstage curtain calls, rumors, and drama. We talk about, superstar and active statuses, injury updates, contract negotiations, extensions, and new signings. We talk about, wrestling promotions from WWE to TNA to Ring of Honor to All Elite Wrestling to New Japan Professional Wrestling. If it makes major news in the world of professional wrestling, we talk about it here on this show 1010%. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about what we talked about already on this show. Make sure you guys check out those segments on YouTube. We talked about our WWE Monday Night Raw review. We talked about some WWE NXT recap. And then we have right now some AEW Dynamite. So let's go ahead and jump on into it. So guys, it's Wednesday. You know what that means. AEW Dynamite is live and it's the Full Gear Go Home show from Reading, Pennsylvania. It's going to be a good show. I feel like tonight's going to be a great display of professional wrestling. We're going to have the TikToker Big Boom AJ will appear, which I don't really know how that's really relatable for me. I'm like, you know what? Look at this fake. I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. Don't want to ruffle any feathers, definitely. So we are live in Reading, Pennsylvania tonight. We're going to have Darby Allin taking on Claudio Castagnoli. Will Darby Allin ever win the big one in AEW? For me, I don't think he will. He's kind of like a smaller superstar. And, I'm not trying to hate on it because there were smaller superstars who were kind of put down by their wrestling promoters. And then eventually they kind of made it up to superstardom, kind of like people like Rey Mysterio, kind of like people like, Eddie Guerrero. And, it all worked out. It all worked out. Like, you look at Alexa Bliss in the women's division. Like, she was literally like maybe a foot, half a foot, smaller than all the other superstars. But it just, it just worked out. It really did just work out. So, it should be interesting to find out what happens tonight. I'm pulling for Darby Allin, Claudio Castagnoli, with Jon Moxley, with the Bastard Pack, and, of course, not Mustafa Ali. Damn it, what's his name? Wheeler Yuta. I can't believe I forgot. The Trios Champions. I feel like it's only a matter of time for them to, kind of pay dividends. You have Darby Allin kind of get the better of them on a week-to-week basis on Dynamite, and I feel like tonight the match before, well, obviously the show, the go-home show before, there's Dynamite, there's Rampage on Friday, but we're gonna have Full Gear. We're gonna have Full Gear on Saturday. Can't wait to talk about that. Can't wait to watch it. I feel like it's gonna be pretty awesome. Wheeler Yuta takes on freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy. Wheeler Yuta was remembered for obviously leaving the Best Friends for the Blackpool Combat Club. And obviously there's going to be some animosity between Orange Cassidy and Wheeler Yuta because if you pay attention on Dynamite, it doesn't really seem like Yuta's being really taken, he's not being respected. He's being used. He's being ultimately like, Jon Moxley has that fear factor to kind of keep him, by his side, kind of like a dog. And, it's kind of sad because I feel like Wheeler Yuta is a huge, huge piece in terms of all elite professional wrestling. I feel like he breaks out. I feel like it might not be tonight or maybe even at Full Gear. I feel like somewhere along the line, Jon Moxley is going to strike a nerve and Wheeler Yuta is going to be like, screw this. And this is going to cost, Jon Moxley the championship. Maybe this is the first step to have, but I don't really, oh my God. Right now, Jon Moxley just seems like he's out of everybody's league. He doesn't really seem like he's, he could really lose convincingly to anybody on this AEW roster. Obviously, Swerve Strickland is doing his thing with Bobby Lashley and the Hurt Syndicate. And it just doesn't really seem like it's plausible. It doesn't really seem like it's really that much of a, huge discrepancy that if you have Orange Cassidy, who's been with AEW since the beginning, if you give him the belt, I really don't see any purpose in that. And, it's sad to say because I root for the guy. I love myself some freshly squeezed. But right now, Jon Moxley and the Death Riders are just kind of running rampant all over All Elite Wrestling. And, they're unstoppable. There's no doubt in my mind they're going to, he's going to retain that championship. Next, we have Roderick Strong taking on MJF at Full Gear. what's next for Adam Cole? What's next for Adam Cole, for my opinion? You know, I feel like he, you know, ever since he's kind of like jumped into this babyface role, you're gonna see him start from the bottom and trying to make his way up to find MJF. For the AEW International Championship, maybe Konosuke Takeshita as well. Or perhaps he, finds his way in, Ring of Honor. Maybe, Ring of Honor, New Japan Professional Wrestling Strong. Maybe he finds a way to kind of dethrone Chris Jericho, the multi-time Ring of Honor World Champion. Maybe that could happen. But right now, Adam Cole, ever since when he lost to Takeshita last week on Dynamite, it just, I don't know. It just didn't really seem like it, Why would you have Roderick Strong taking on MJF when it was MJF and Adam Cole? For me, I was kind of like, all right, okay, what are you doing? Okay, so now we're going to see Roderick Strong, kind of like where you had, MJF feuding with the aerial assassin Will Ospreay, I think it was a month ago. I think it was a month ago when they fought at All In. Before that, MJF made an example of Will Ospreay's buddy, Kyle Fletcher, and then maybe this could be a way for him kind of, ultimately doing this to Roderick Strong, which forces Adam Cole to kind of, step up his game. All right, what's next for Hook? What's next for Hook in the patriarchy? Hopefully he finds a way to kind of take out Christian Cage, because at this point Christian Cage is kind of pissing me off as well. I got to be honest. I'm like, dude, the patriarchy. But he's doing his job. There's nobody better at causing people to piss you off than Randy Orton is one of them. I feel like Edge is up there as well, and Christian Cage. He's been around, TNA. He's been around WWF/WWE. He's been around, AEW. He's been around. He's been around. So right at this point, I feel like he kind of has a lot of, kind of like a lot of moxie, a lot of know-it-all. Is not know-it-all, but like for the right reasons, I guess you can say. All right, we have Chris Statlander taking on Hikaru Shida. Statlander's hoping to build up momentum heading toward her match with Mercedes Moné for the New Japan Professional Wrestling For the TBS Strong Championship. And, I feel like this is going to be good for Chris Statlander. This needs to be good for Chris Statlander. Chris Statlander, she went heel ultimately to help Mercedes Moné win the belt. And then as soon as AEW, creative officials kind of looked around her like, oh shit, oh crap, I probably should have never turned Chris Statlander heel. Because at the end of the day, you had Stokely kind of go away. Willow of Nightingale, her buddy, she's injured right now. She's been out with a concussion. I feel like right now, Chris Statlander, she's a great superstar. She's a great superstar, 1,010%. Obviously, she has history with the TBS Championship. She was the one to defeat Jade Cargill. So, I feel like it might be destiny here. All right, CML's Hechicero Atlantis Jr. and Mascara Dorado will be in action tonight. And we have a huge 8-man tag team match with the aerial assassin Will Ospreay teaming up with Powerhouse Hobbs, Ricochet, and Mark Davies going up against the Don Callis family, which consists of the AEW International Champion Konosuke Takeshita, Kyle Fletcher, Lance Archer, and the Ring of Honor World Television Champion Brian Cage. This match is going to be definitely one of the best matches I've ever seen in my life. I'm just kidding, no. I hope it is. I definitely hope it. You have a lot of talent. I love, Ricochet going to AEW. I love Lance Archer. I do love Brian Cage as well. I feel like he's a huge player in terms of the Ring of Honor. And, well, not just Ring of Honor, but in Tony Khan's promotions, obviously, in terms of New Japan Professional Wrestling, the CMLL, ROH, and also AEW. I feel like, he has that it factor to him. And, I'd be kind of bummed if he lost that title. I feel like he's a great men's wrestling, television champion. And I just keep hoping that his momentum keeps moving forward. All right, guys. So hey, that was my AEW Dynamite talk. Now we're gonna jump on into some Tiffany Stratton's Money in the Bank cash-in. Will be epic. Obviously, I'm gonna dive on into it, but just a little spoiler alert. Over the years, in terms of women who's won the Money in the Bank, they haven't really held it for more than like 30, 40 days. Obviously, the person who's held it longest was Carmella when, obviously was first introduced. But especially with the men's Money in the Bank briefcase wasted on this Drew McIntyre CM Punk feud where you didn't really have to kind of incorporate the briefcase to kind of mess that up. But I feel like WWE is at that point right now where they kind of saw it. They're like, you know what, we can't really have any other curveballs being thrown our way. When somebody has the briefcase, they're always going to be in title contention. So A, the person holding the briefcase has to deserve it, and B, it has to be the right spot, the right moment, the right time. And at that point, WWE kind of looked at it, they're like, you know what, why stress ourselves? Why stress ourselves? We're going to put all the glory, we're going to put all the attention around this women's division on WWE that's been absolutely stellar on NXT. It's been stellar on SmackDown. Raw, I feel like, needs a little bit of work. I do, in the women's division. But right now, you kind of have, all eyes on Tiffany Stratton. She's the Money in the Bank, Mrs. Money in the Bank briefcase holder. We're going to talk about her. We're going to talk about possible outcomes when we return. So, hey, do not go anywhere.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go.